Hi guys, hope you had a lovely weekend and you're ready for week 2 of the last half term. Okay, we're on to chapter 36 today. I went out into the front garden with Mina. We sat on the front wall waiting for Dad's car turning into the street. The door was open behind us, letting a wedge of light out into the dark. Whisper came, slinking through the shadows below the wall. He sat below us, curled against our feet. What does it mean? I said. If Skellig eats living things and makes pellets like the owls. She shrugged. We can't know, she said. What is he? I said. We can't know. Sometimes we just have to accept there are things we can't know. Why is your sister ill? Why did my father die? She held my hand. Sometimes we think we should be able to know everything, but we can't. We have to allow ourselves to see what there is to see, and we have to imagine. We talked about the fledglings in the nest above us. We tried together to hear their breathing. We wondered what blackbird babies dreamed about. Sometimes they'll be very scared, said Mina. They'll dream about cats climbing towards them. They'll dream about dangerous crows with ugly beaks. They'll dream about vicious children plundering the nest. They'll dream of death all around them. But there'll be happy dreams as well. Dreams of life. They'll dream of flying like their parents do. They'll dream of finding their own tree one day, building their own nest, having their own chicks. I held my hand to my heart. What would I feel when they operated the baby's fragile heart? When they cut into her tiny heart? Mina's fingers were cold and dry and small. I felt the tiny pulse of blood in them. I felt my own hand tremble very quickly, very gently. We're still like chicks, she said. Happy half the time dead scared. I closed my eyes and tried to discover where my happy half was hiding. I felt the tears trickling through my tightly closed eyelids. I felt Whisper's claws tugging at my jeans. I wanted to be all alone in an attic like Skellig, with just the owls and the moonlight and an oblivious heart. You're so brave, said Mina. And then Dad's car came, with its blaring engine and its glaring lights, and the fear just increased and increased and increased. Chapter 37. An endless night, in and out of dreams, in and out of sleep. Dad snoring and snuffling in the next room. No moon in the sky, endless dark. The clock at my bedside was surely stuck. All it showed were the dead hours. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Endless minutes between them. No hooting of owls, no calling from Skellig or Mina. Like the whole world was stuck. All of time stuck. Then I must have slept properly at last, and I woke to daylight with stinging eyes and a sunken heart. And then we fought, my dad and I, while we crunched burnt toast and swigged tepid tea. No, I yelled. I won't go to school. Why should I? Not today. You'll do as you're told. You do what's best for your mum and the baby. You just want me out of the way so you don't have to think about me and don't have to worry about me, and you can just think about the baby. Dad kicked the leg of the table, and the milk bottle toppled over on the table, and a jar of jam crashed to the floor. See, he yelled. See the state you get me in. He raised his fists like he wanted to smash something. Anything. The table. Me. Go to school, he yelled. Get out of my sight. Then he just reached across and grabbed me to him. I love you, he whispered, and we cried and cried. You could come with me, he said, but there'd be nothing you could do. We'd just have to wait and pray and believe that everything will be all right. Moments later, Mina came knocking at the door. She had Whisper in her arms. You've got to come and help me, she said. Dad nodded. I'll come for you this afternoon, he said, when the operation's over. Go with Mina. She took me to her garden. She gripped Whisper tight. On the rooftop, the blackbird started yelling its alarm call. Bad boy, she said to the cat, as she went to the open front door, threw him in, pushed it shut behind him. The fledglings are out, she said. Stay dead still and quiet. Watch out for cats. We sat on the front step and didn't move. Under the hedge, she said, and under the rose tree by the wall. I started to ask what I was looking for, but then I saw the first of them. Little brown feathered ball with its beak gaping in the darkness beneath the hedge. This is how they start their life outside the nest, she said. They can't fly. Their parents still have to feed them, but they're nearly all alone. All they can do is walk and hide in the shadows and wait for their food. The parents came closer. The brown mother to the lowest branch of the tree, the jet black father to the top of the hedge. Worms dangled from their beaks. They called softly to each other and the fledglings with little clicks and coughs. "First day out," whispered Mina. "Think Whisper's had at least one of them already." The parents waited, wary of us. Then at last they dropped into the garden. A fledgling tottered out from beneath the rose bush, let its mother drop the worms into its beak, and tottered back again. The father fed the one beneath the hedge. The parents flew away again. "They'll be doing this all day," said Mina, "flying and feeding all the way till dusk, and the same thing tomorrow and tomorrow till the chicks can fly." We stayed watching. "Cats'll get them," she said, "or crows, or stupid dogs." Dad came out of our house. He came into Mina's garden. Mina pressed a finger to her lips and widened her eyes in warning. He tiptoed to us. "The fledglings are out of the nest," she whispered. She showed him where to look. "Yes," he whispered. He crouched beside us, dead still. "Aren't they lovely?" he said. He cupped my cheek in his hand, and we looked deep into each other's eyes. Then he had to go. "You just keep believing," he said, "and everything will be fine." He went to the car and drove from the street as quietly as he could. Mina and I watched and waited as the brown mother and the jet-black father flew in and out of the garden, feeding their young. Chapter 38. Mid-morning. Mina's mother brought cups of tea for us. She sat beside us on the step. She talked about the fledglings, the flowers that were bursting into bloom, the air that every day became warmer, the sun that every day was a little higher and a little warmer. She talked about the way spring made the world burst into life after months of apparent death. She told us about the goddess called Persephone, who was forced to spend half a year in the darkness deep underground. Winter happened when she was trapped inside the earth. The days shrank. They became cold and short and dark. Living things hid themselves away. Spring came when she was released and made her slow way up to the world again. The world became brighter and bolder in order to welcome her back. It began to be filled with warmth and light. The animals dared to wake. They dared to have their young. Plants dared to send out buds and shoots. Life dared to come back. "An old Greek myth," I said. "Yes," she said, "but maybe it's a myth that's nearly true. Look around you, Michael. Fledglings and blooms and bright sunshine. Maybe what we see around us is the whole world welcoming Persephone home." She rested her hand on my arm. "They can do marvellous things, Michael. Maybe you'll soon be welcoming your own Persephone home." We thought of Persephone for a while in silence. I imagined her struggling her way towards us. She squeezed through black tunnels. She took wrong turnings, banged her head against the rocks. Sometimes she gave up in despair, and she just lay weeping in the pitch darkness. But she struggled on. She waded through icy underground streams. She fought through bedrock and clay and iron ore and coal, through fossils of ancient creatures, through skeletons of dinosaurs, the very remains of ancient cities. She burrowed past the tangled roots of great trees. She was torn and bleeding, but she kept telling herself to move on, onward and upward. She told herself that soon she would see the light of the sun again and feel the warmth of the world. Then Mina's mother broke into my thoughts. "I'll watch the birds," she said. "Why don't you both go for a wander for a while?" And Mina took my hand and led me away. It was like walking in a dream. The houses were tilted and swaying. The sun glared over the rooftops. Birds were ragged and black against the astonishing sky. The roadway glistened, a deep black pond. Invisible traffic roared and squealed. She held my arm. "Are you all right, Michael?" she kept asking. "Are you sure you're all right?" We made our way towards the danger door. She led me through the gate, through the long garden, through the door, into the dark and dusty interior. We went up in silence. She held my arm like I was an old man or an invalid. On the final landing, she told me, "He'll be waiting for us, Michael. He'll be so pleased to see you." She turned the handle. We went in. Sunlight poured through the arched window. We stood there, staring. He wasn't there. Mina ran back down through the house. I heard her feet on the bare boards, doors swinging open. I heard her calling for him. "Skellig! Skellig!" I heard her coming back slowly up to me. Her face was paler than ever. There were tears shining in her eyes. "He isn't here," she whispered. "He just isn't here at all." We went to the window and gazed into the empty sky above the city. I found myself falling forward. I gripped the windowsill tight. I touched my heart. "Oh, Mina," I said. "What is it?" "My heart stopped. Feel my heart. There's nothing there." She caught her breath. She touched my chest. she called my name. And then there was just blackness. Ooh, what's happened to Michael? We'll have to find out tomorrow. I will see you then.